amazing. Well, hey, words can never adequately convey everything you're giving to me today. But holding you is better than a holiday, and leaving you, I dread it like exam day. So at the risk of sounding kinda risque, everything to now has been the foreplay. Darling, I would follow you to Norway, or anywhere you want it, 'cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, when we're getting wrinkly and our hair's grey, a rusty old banger in the driveway, one of us will maybe wear a toupee, but I will be in love with you.
Can we hear me now? Is it all good? Can I get a yes in the chat if you can hear me at this moment? That would be incredible. Okay, let's go. What I was saying was basically warm welcome. Warm welcome to an interactive event, which is very funny because you are not able to hear me. Beautiful. Because what this is all about is the graduation of 3 transformational speakers. Incredible speakers who've been working 8 weeks to get their talk dialed in. And not just the talk, but the talk where they pour out what's mostly on their heart. You're going to experience all of that. But what I want to do first is something that you're already doing a little bit, which is put stuff in the chat, because this is a reaction. This is a transformation. This is not for you to just sit back and hear some stuff. This is for you to write stuff down that you're actually able to implement. So let's put in the chat, where are you coming in from today? I already saw some stuff going on. We have California in the house. We have Germany in the house. We have Texas in the house. We have Istria. Oh, I've heard of that place before. Absolutely, absolutely amazing from all over the world. So please put it in the chat where you're tuning in from today, so everybody feels the bigness of all of this. Now, before we start, I want to share with you something. And that is that all learning is state-based. All learning is what? State-based. That means that when you're in a negative state, is it possible that you're not going to observe all the information, right? Learning in a state-based means that when we're just listening, we just get 0 to 5% of the information that we're hearing. But are we here for 0 to 5%? Come on now. Of course we're not. So What's important is when I say write stuff down, it's not just for you to be able to do that and have something to do. It's also for you to make sure that you retain not 0 to 5%, but 40 to 50% of the information, right? And maybe right now you're like, oh my God, that's a lot of energy from the stage. And she's moving and she's standing and all the speakers are standing. Why is that? Why is that? Because when you play with us, when you write stuff down, when you put things in the chat, when you're using your body, you're using your voice while you're listening, you'll actually retain more than 90% of what's being said. And with a raise of hands, who's here to retain 90% of more of what these incredible ladies are going to share with us? Absolutely everybody. So, with that said, I can keep going forever. But wouldn't it be a nice time to just bring the first speaker up who's going to share from her heart and share from her heart about something that she is incredibly, incredibly passionate about. Do you remember you as a kid and getting like one extra candy from your parents? You'll be like, oh my God, I'm so excited, right? This woman creates that same excitement about numbers, about finances, about balance sheets. I've never met someone who's so excited about her numbers as this woman. And she's not just excited, but she's incredible skilled as well. She's a CPA. She built multi 7 and 8 figure businesses. She learned from the best of the best. And now she's here with us to share how you can leverage your finances to level up your life. Can I get a big fat yes in the chat if you're willing to receive the gold that she's going to pour into you? Because that's what's going to happen. I knew you got to do your stuff and really, really be ready to get that into your system. Can I get a big round of applause for Nilsa Santiago? Nilsa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lori, for that introduction. Now, with the show of hands, how many business owners do we have in the audience? Let's see. I'm counting 18 business owners in the audience and defining business owners as 2 or more years in business. Now, how many aspiring entrepreneurs do we have in the audience? 20. So we have over 30 people in the audience, all with this mind of business. And let's see where this is going now, because I have one more question. How many of you would say that finance has never been your idea of fun? Everybody raises their hand. Well, today we're going to change that. We're going to rethink how we see finances, because finances is much more than spreadsheets, as history is much more than facts and dates, because they both require strategy, thinking, planning, but there's also so many stories behind what we do with finances and what we learned in history during all the years in school, and we continue to be inside history. Now, when we talk about financial stories, I have my own. Mine started as a very young age with a piggy bank, and then I was in a savings club at school. That went into being an expert on the Monopoly board. My father spent hours on Saturdays teaching me all the little nuances of Monopoly and the terminology of purchasing properties, loans and mortgages, interest rates. So there's no question that when I was 22 years old, I was confident and had this conviction about all these finances terminology that I just jumped in and purchased a property without really knowing what I was doing. I rented 2 rooms out to roommates, and out of the blue, I created a passive income for myself. And that story continues. That's for another keynote. And in history, I recently just came from Malta, where we got to visit the war room where the strategies for the Second World War were happening. And it was all based on strategy and thinking. But as I go into that dungeon, that tunnel, to see that 2 or 3 minutes later, I want to get out of there. I'm desperate. And I say to myself, interesting. This is how many people feel about finances. So there's something missing here, so I can connect with this amazing opportunity that I have to be in a UNESCO site. And then the host starts talking about his story. 80 years ago, his father was right there in that war, and they've recently found a letter in their family that explained everything that went on at that moment. So I have my story with finances. He has his story with history. And I can say that in the room, when they were talking about history, 30% of the people were engaged, 70 were not. But then further on in the conversation, where we're getting a lecture, we're at a Harvard Business School reunion, the 24th reunion. And surprisingly, they start talking about happiness. Harvard has been studying happiness for the last 85 years. So in that lecture, 70% of people were not engaged, and the different group of people were engaged. And this is where this conversation is leading. Harvard is all about business, creating companies. And in this room, we have over 30 people that are business owners and entrepreneurs. And we've all learned that business is about the owner creating marketing plans, bringing in sales, collecting cash, collecting receivables, cash flow, and profit. Ultimately, you'll have profit and loss, which are balance sheets, income statements, and cash flow statements, KPIs, and return on investment. But I'm going to change that model for you. I'm going to make finances fun with a new model. Taking what I've learned on this recent trip, we're going to create, if you can all pull out a piece of paper and draw a Mickey Mouse, a round circle and two ears. And why are we doing a Mickey Mouse? Because finance is fun. And I am going to Disney in a few weeks to see my daughter run a 5K. And Disney for me is fun. So let's make this a financial fun keynote. In the ear on the left, on the right, you're going to put the word connection and relationship. Why? Because the 85-year study of Harvard says that ultimately happiness is about connection and relationships. Not about money, not about KPIs, not about ROIs. And on the other side of the other ear of Disney, of the Mickey Mouse, is wellness. And this is where finance becomes fun, because as we build our businesses, we get to create a different ROI called return on intention. So this big circle is, the title is happiness. And that's what does happiness means to you? I'll give you some ideas. For me, it's joy, fun, pleasure, curiosity, personal growth, and contribution. But at the bottom of this model of happiness, there is a foundation, a financial flow foundation. And that's something that we can all create here in this room because we have a business to do that. So just keep that model in your head. The Mickey Mouse ears, finances is fun. And think about finances gives you choices. Connection gives you meaning. Happiness is the highest ROI. So my advice to you is don't ignore your numbers. Play with them. Learn in your business to make more, to keep more, because when you have more, you get to give more, you get to live and play more, because ultimately, when you say hello to the future, the joyful financial future, everyone in this room and around the world has an opportunity to find thousands of possibilities and design your own destiny. And that is the message for you today. You have the power to design your destiny because you're learning a new model of happiness. So go for it. Finances is fun. And thank you so much for allowing me to be a little creative with numbers, because numbers are more than spreadsheets. History is more than dates. And facts, it's about stories, it's about feelings. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Nils, everybody. And what I love so much about this woman, right before we came on stage, she was like, Lori, should I wear the blue glasses or the pink glasses? They're probably still there, right? This woman radiates fun. She radiates fun. She creates joy wherever she goes. And at the same time, she's just so incredibly good in finances. So I hope you got you got that gold from her, and really, really associate your finances with more fun, because when you do that, it already starts to flow a little bit more. It's not just about the balance sheets, it's also about the association. Now, Nilsa, how is this for you to share? I think this has been your fifth time or sixth time by now that you're sharing a story on this stage. How does it feel for you right now?
It feels fascinating that I could connect with history with a story, with David sharing the story of his father. So finance also has to do about stories. So the more stories we share and the more people start connecting that finances is not about spreadsheets and numbers, it's about the stories that we're creating and all these possibilities. It just opens up a new realm, and you now we start seeing finances through a different lens, even through mine, that I enjoy it so much.
Yes. So good. Well, one more round for Nilsa. Absolutely incredibly done. And I think you open it up for like a really, really beautiful event, because Nilsa is not the only speaker. We're just getting started, because the person that's going to share her knowledge and experience and transformational journey with all of you now is not someone who focuses on numbers or even like clustering things in boxes, but it's really, really about people, about seeing people who they are. Because can we agree that sometimes when we look at people, we look at things that are different than ourselves? And then we can create this gap in between you and someone else. And what this person is all about is making sure everybody feels seen and heard. The person that I'm talking about is an OCD expert, lived it, and now is sharing how people with OCD can completely thrive in current society, and how we can all embrace everybody together. The person that I am able to bring to the stage, which is an absolute pleasure, is Sandra Wallace. Sandra,
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lori.
of course, go crush it.
Okay, hi. I used to think OCD was my weakness, and now it taught me to make it my superpower, like no other. Hello, my name is Sandra Wallace, and I'm living a happy life with OCD. You heard me right, a happy life with OCD. But it was not always that way, and I'd like to take a moment to just tell you how it was for me for many decades. Out of my second book called OCD, Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, The 6 Secrets to the Deliverance from OCD, I talk about that in chapter 4. I title it The Perfect Mask. For decades, I hid behind a mask, and it was a perfect mask for most of the time. There were very few people I let into my world. The rationale behind not disclosing my unwanted thoughts, feelings, and compulsions was out of fear that others would not be able to understand or accept them and judge me in a negative way. So stigma was another barrier to being able to speak openly about my journey with OCD. So the impact of stigma was twofold. First, the misconceptions that society adopts while placing labels on those living with a mental disorder. And secondly, self-stigmatization and feeling unworthy of myself and being unable to give myself self-love. I became my worst own enemy and turning me against myself. Now, what does OCD mean to you? Now, I described what it meant to me for decades, but for maybe some of you, it's a disease, or for others, it might be a disorder. Some may look at it like a disability, or like me now, a superpower. So, everyone's going to have their own view of OCD in your own way to provide meaning to it. So I'm hoping that by the end of our time together that we can all make some form of transformation for the positive when we think about OCD. So let's start with once I was diagnosed. When I was diagnosed, I questioned whether OCD was now going to ruin my life or going to save my life. There was two ways of looking at it. Have you ever been, may I ask you all a question for a show of hands, have you ever been in a situation where you are looking forward to it, but you're also scared of it? Kind of like a bit like me today as I stand here on the stage in front of you to share my story. I'm excited to share my messages, but also a little bit afraid. But let's get started. When I started to finally get diagnosed, I had previously gone from walk-in clinic to walk-in clinic, and each doctor would look at me and see that I needed help, but then never be able to direct me in the right direction to receive that help. Now, I remember it as clear as yesterday, September 25th, 1995. How many of you remember that date? For some of you, you may not have been born yet. Others may remember that day very clearly. That was the day as I sat once more in a walk-in clinic, waiting to see the doctor. I was wondering, is this doctor going to tell me the same thing that all the other doctors told me, that I need help, but then not be able to put a name to it, and worse yet, not be able to direct me in the right direction. I remember sitting in silence that day on September 25th, 1995, across from Dr. Vivian Rowan, who is a specialist in OCD. And as I sat there silently watching her put all the broken pieces of my puzzle in my life together, she looks up and broke the silence. Sandra, you have obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. A part of me was so relieved, and yet a part of me was so terrified. What did this mean? This was actually the greatest turning point in my life. If I may, I would like to share a few scenes out of my life, starting back at the age of 5. I remember I was going on a school trip at age 5. Anyone else remember going on their first school trip? How you felt when you were leaving home? Maybe you kissed your mom and dad goodbye as you embarked in this adventure you've never been on before. What is the first trip you remember? If it's not your school trip, maybe it was a holiday, your first holiday away from your mom and dad. My first school trip at age 5 was the local town jail and police station. I lived in a small town, Dryden, Ontario, a pulp and paper mill, and we were going to tour our local jail. How would you feel spending time in a prison cell for convicts who spend 30 years there? I can't even imagine how terrifying that would be. But on that school trip, I couldn't even stand anywhere in close proximity of the cells because of the fear that someone would close the door, and it made me believe that I would be trapped in there forever, and I would rather die. All the other kids were treating it like a playground. They were jumping on the beds in the cells and looking at the toilets and swinging the doors back and forth. But I was so petrified and paralyzed that I could not even walk into any of the cells. Excuse me. Now, anyone remember doing chores as a child? My mom would always get me to clean the bathtub. Every weekend we would clean the bathtub, and I would have to do it literally 1,000 times. Otherwise, my mom would get sick, and my mama was my best friend. Yes, you heard me right. I used to associate my fears with simple tasks that made the tasks so terrifying and so absolutely necessary. And the reason for that was members of my family would suffer if I didn't do it just right. And for those of you living out there with OCD, you know what I mean when I say just right. Just right this time may be very different from just right your next time you do a task or a compulsion. And guess what? Unfortunately, that fear came to life. My mom did develop breast cancer, but thank God she lived a wonderful life. At the age of 78, she left this world, and she had a beautiful life ahead of her following the surgery. But the fact that she did have cancer reinforced my obsessions that much more, and my need to do the compulsions that much more, to make sure I did things in a systematic way so no one else was jeopardized by getting sick or dying. So some of you might be sitting here today wondering, okay, Sandra, how did you break the cycle? It's okay to talk about it, but tell us, give us the way to be able to see OCD different and start challenging it. Well, it wasn't until I was 27 years old, as I mentioned earlier, when I was diagnosed by an expert in OCD. When I finally found the courage, once I could put a name to it, I found the courage to not follow this crazy belief that I had to do something about it. And I refused the call. I refused the call from OCD to do something. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited. And guess what? Nothing bad happened. From that day forward, I knew I could break the curse by reminding myself that I was in control and not these crazy thoughts were in control. These thoughts were not me, and I was not my thoughts. And so I learned that OCD is not me, and it's kind of like a bad roommate or a friend you kind of carry along on your journey. So that's how I did it. I was able to find the number one technique called cognitive behavior therapy, which is still the number one gold standard treatment today. And within that technique, within that therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, is a technique called exposure response prevention. And I started facing my fears one at a time. I built that solid foundation of all the things, all the obsessions in my world, and then all the compulsions that I did to alleviate the obsessions, and I started to challenge them one by one. So thank you for letting me share my 3 stories. These 3 stories are equivalent to 3 letters. They do not represent OCD. I would like you to be able to transform your thinking today as we leave here, and think of the O as being open to something different than what you've been doing up to this point. The C is considerate. Be considerate of what different outcomes you can have if you're open to a new way of thinking about your OCD. And the D is determined. Be determined to make the changes required to live a life worth living. For those of you who want to take this, I think this is this thought pattern to change. This is a moment in time right here, right now, to harness the strengths from within, to rise above the challenges and to create a new narrative for yourself. So for those of you who are interested in taking that next step, I would like to get on a free clarity call. Our free clarity calls are 15 minutes, but for you, I'm extending that to a 30-minute free clarity call by reaching out to me at 1-204-295-4408. Or send me an email at info@theocdcoach.com. I treat anxiety, OCD, and depression in the same technique of CBT and ERP. Now, for that's only going to be for the next 48 hours, this offer. And with the offer, in addition, you will also receive a free PDF of my second book, OCD Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, The 6 Secrets to the Deliverance from OCD. As always, our website has everything we can offer you at www.theocdcoach.com. I'll meet you there.
Wow, that was absolute fire. Can we get a big round of applause for Sandra? And I'm sure that either you, Sandra, or someone else will be in the chat a little bit later to share the resources so people can also see it, right? So they've heard it and now they can see it as well, because I think that's an absolute beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. The most precious thing we have in our life is time. That's the only thing we cannot multiply, right? Resources we can always find in time. That's what you're willing to give to this beautiful group. So that was incredible, Sandra. And you shared a little bit in the talk that you connected speaking with the thoughts, right? Now, how was this for you to do the speaking?
It was good. I always want to get the word out. I'm passionate about eroding stigma because there's so much stigma associated with mental health. So I really wanted to be able to bring that to the stage and let people know that they're not alone and that there is help and they can make transformation in their life.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is when you put your mission first, you just
Mhm.
step into it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then that is exactly what we just witnessed. You crushed it, woman. Absolutely amazing.
Thank
One
you.
more round of applause for Sandra, everybody. That was
Thank you.
beautiful. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that amazingness is just going to extend itself. Because are you ready for one more transformational journey that has a totally different objective, right? Because the next speaker, she's rooted in a deep love for her country, and there was actually already someone who is coming from that country that put it in the chat. It's not Texas, it's not Germany, but it is Istria, Croatia. And the person that I'm talking about is Irina Kotiga. She manages short-term rentals, and she has perfected the art of welcoming guests from all around the world and turning each stay into a memorable story. But her impact goes beyond than the hosting part. Because what she is doing as well is she's guiding foreign property owners through the complexities of starting and running business in Croatia, helping them overcome daunting bureaucracy processes. She's basically the bridge between people who want to do more within Croatia and she being the expert in the region. And she is also a proud mom of three incredible kiddos. But not just that, she also loves gardening. She has goats, she has chickens, she's doing all of it. So she's sharing with you how you can also transition and utilize the expertise that you already have in order for you to live the life that you want to live, but also create that freedom of space so you can connect with the people and the things that are most important to you in your life right now. And I see that there's already so much excitement in the chat about the country itself. So let's just get started. And please have a warm welcome from Irina Kotiga. The floor is yours.
Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and let's just start to see who knows about a little awkwardly shaped country in Europe, Croatia. Who has been here? You can drop in the comments, please. And for those of you who haven't been here, feel free to put it on a bucket list. I'm sure you will be amazed by it, and it will not be a wasted time. So, as Lori said, yeah, I come from Croatia, a little region, Istria, very near Italy and Slovenia. So, to be more complicated for everybody who comes here, we don't just speak Croatian here in Istria. We also speak Italian. It's a bilingual region, but we also speak Čakavski, which is in English would be Czechoslovakian, which sounds very silly. But this is just to let you know that it's not just easy to just come here and start your dream and do whatever you had a plan with. So I'm sure you will. You have heard like, okay, people in Croatia are nice, are welcoming, the culture is rich. But I would also like to point out in this speech that there's another side of the coin as well. So, for example, those people, yeah, they're nice and everything, but if you want to do a business here and get to know people, networking is the key. Coffee meetings are actually a regular meeting where you can even buy a house if you wish. It's not that needs to be something really professional, environment. And you need to know that we're really good in a slow living movement, maybe not in big cities, but there are not so many in Croatia. So, and the trust is very, very important thing in our relationships. You will also hear that English is very widely spread, that people, speak English regularly. And yeah, this can count for younger generations or middle-aged group, but not the older ones. And also even this middle-aged group, if you see the ladies in offices or anything like legal stuff related, buildings, people often don't speak English that professional, so they will not be so eager to, just start and explain you things. So having a person who will be some sort of a middleman, a translator with you, will be a key thing as well. You will also hear very often, oh yeah, the nature is amazing. Oh my God, it would be so lovely to have a house here and stuff like that. But bear in mind that building permits are not so easy to get. So it can be a long process, and electrical infrastructure and water infrastructure is not very widely spread. So sometimes you need to wait for that as well. So keep that in mind. And I can really confirm that running a business here or entrepreneurship, it's a really good place to go and start something, because I must admit that we are not very entrepreneurial. And this is just like starting to be a more of an interesting thing. But people here are more into like being secure on one job and not so much into, go and start your own business. But this can be daunting, and a little bit it can lead to frustration for foreigners because of the language barrier, since our bureaucracy is quite complex, and forms are made only in Croatian, and this can be sort of a tricky thing for you as well. So I don't know, you can leave me in the comment if this has drawn a little bit of uncertainty of the process of, yeah, I want to come and live here. It would be so nice to have a house here, or let's start a business there. I could be a digital nomad or whatever. Let me know in the comments if now you feel like, okay, maybe it's not really, just like that. And if this is what you feel now, I'm not surprised, because I completely understand you, since I've been working for people that came here with all the hype of starting something and then, hit a wall a little bit, and which made them stop. I've been working for past 10 years helping people, to overcome those challenges. And I would say that if you do come here, wherever in other regions, I work in Istria, but if you are in any other region coming here and looking for that person, don't be strained by the level of education that this person needs to have. So to find in your local expert, the most skills that these people need to have is actually speak, of course, Croatian very well, and English as well, to be able to translate you everything, more or less at the same, level. And they shouldn't be afraid on knocking on the doors, asking questions, being pushy, and getting the answers for you. So they shouldn't have any shame of, trying to get things done. And the third thing would be they need to know how to wrap that up in a cohesive way, doing a little bit of a step-by-step process with you, make a framework or a roadmap together with you how to tackle this. And to give you a little picture of some of the examples I had to struggle with, I will start with the story of Werner and Suze, a German couple who was 5 years staying as a vacationing in an apartment of my parents, and they got to know me a little bit better. And but I had a regular 8 to 4 job, and I didn't get along I wasn't so much a friend with them. But they had enough trust to give me, they just came to me on a coffee break, like, okay, Irena, we have 2 weeks, and we decided we want to buy a house here. We want to transfer the money from Germany, and we want you to help us start up a company so we can do all of that thing. And I was like, oh my God, how will I do that? Like, I've never done something like this. But long story short, we made it during all my lunch breaks. I made it happen. And so that was actually a start of a job that I'm doing today full time. And during all those years, I also helped, for example, Nora, who was here in 10 years already living in Istria, but still she didn't have enough confidence to start her own candle business. And fulfill her dream of starting this hobby after having other companies around the world, but here she felt so little, so tiny, so uncertain about that whole process. And then I had also Ute. She is an architect in Austria, but here building process of her amazing home was lasting 10 years. And it just took me 1.5 years to tackle with all the bureaucracy stuff to get one very important document to get a rental license for her. And I also had a very busy director from Belgium who I had to leave. Actually, I had to start for him to run as a co-host, but actually I ended up to run the completely construction site of his house. So it was really, there are stories like this that just happen, and you are not even aware how actually you can come to those obstacles. And this is why I'm actually on a mission to help everybody who come to Croatia to not be frustrated, to not be confused, insecure, or lost. I really want all the people to feel relieved about the process, to see the progress, to know that they are not alone, and to be certain about it. And that's why I actually created I will be starting a community on the school platform, and I will leave you a link to join. So I want to start a community that will be on a mission to help 5,000 people who want to come and live in Croatia and start a business here or do whatever they like, and to join them with the experts and with other fellow experts and people who come here to share our experiences, to share to be some sort of a networking space and connect with people who are trustworthy and really can help you lead you towards your goal and be a little bit of a help on that way. Thank you. So here is the link in the chat.
Amazing.
In the comments.
Yes, and share it out loud, Irina, and also afterwards put it in the chat. Actually, Sandra just put it in the chat, and I will repeat it for Sandra, so it's very visible everywhere, so you're able to see all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And Irina, that was absolutely dope. Like basically, what you're sharing is like everybody who comes to Croatia and wants to do business, there is a person who actually knows the stuff. Isn't that fun, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it fun that you are the expert, but you're also helping other people to understand that way of thinking is possible and that they can leverage their skill of their country into a thriving business?
Yes. This is why, because I'm one, and I cannot, serve everybody, and I really want more and more people to start doing this.
Yes.
And help as many people as we can.
There you go. There's the art. And how was this for you to share?
It was amazing. Actually, the idea came to me of having this community for a while ago. I think almost 2 years I've been sitting on that idea. So actually, this was a perfect time to untackle that fear together with public speaking. And I just decided to go all in with it and not leave it to sleep there as an idea, because I see more and more that this is very much needed. And I think I'm taking from the people if I don't make this happen. Maybe I'm taking from those who really needs those kind of communities, who really needs that space.
That's so beautiful. Stepping up because of the mission. That's exactly what Sandra is sharing with us as well. When you believe in something so bad and you know that you can add value in that space, it's a disservice not to go for it. And you absolutely did amazing, Irina. I'm sure that you're going to put the connection in the
I did.
In the chat. Perfect. And there's some people who said, like, while you were sharing, I am nodding, shaking my head wildly in agreement of everything. So there's some super fans right there. Absolutely incredible. Well done. One more round of applause for Irina, everybody. So good. And isn't it fun that there's so many different kind of people, all with their own message, that are sharing from the heart, and they're all here on a mission. And that because they put their vision forward, that they're leaning into the path, whatever path that is for you. I hope that you as a listener are not just inspired by what they're sharing, but also to do something on your own, right? We're all here as creators, not just consumers. So here you are being inspired, being on a transformational journey. So can I get a yes in the chat as a commitment to also do something with it? Whether it is connecting with Irina to find out more about the opportunities to work together, whether that is to call Sandra or to email her to get her second part of her book and to claim that 30-minute call with her instead of 15 minutes. The biggest gift is time. Or to drastically look to Nilse Santiago on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Instagram, to DM her finance, to get in touch with her and see what's possible, right? Or if it's, oh my God, these people inspire me so much, I need to go do something for my own stuff as well. And there's been a dream that's been dusting on a shelf for me for so long. And this is the moment that I'm going to go for it. This is the moment that I'm going to commit to that journey, whether it's an easy one or a challenging one. I don't care, because I want to create this. You all played full out. Absolutely amazing to see you so beautifully active in the chat. And with that said, I would say have an absolute outstanding rest of your Tuesday. For everybody who is part of the Public Speaking Academy, whether you were speaking today or you were watching, what we are going to do is we go back into the Zoom room that we go to every single week to evaluate what just happened. Because this is not just the place to share the information. This was also the place to showcase your speaking skills that you've been working on for 8 weeks straight. And this will be the moment where we're going to look at the results and share the knowledge with each other. Everybody, absolutely, absolutely amazingly well done. And the last thing I want you to know is this. I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing.
One day, we'll be looking back on this and we'll say, aren't you happy that we did it our way? Everyone we knew was saying no way, but we were never listening anyway. So don't be just standing in the doorway. Don't you know we gotta hit the highway? Darling, this is gonna be a good day. And I've gotta say that I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, I'll be looking back on this and I'll say, I'm so happy that you said you would stay. There were times I know that I was crazy, fraying at the edges and you saved me. I'm losing count of chances that you gave me. You're laughing at me dancing really badly and telling me the reasons why you'd gladly do it all again. 'Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Well, hey, words can never adequately convey everything you're giving to me today. But holding you is better than a holiday, and leaving you, I dread it like exam day. So at the risk of sounding kinda risque, everything to now has been the foreplay. Darling, I would follow you to Norway or anywhere you want it. 'Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. But you're amazing. You're amazing. driveway. One of us will maybe wear a toupee, but I will be in love with you